So this is my White Forest deck list profile. Starting off, we are running 3 copies of LZ of the White Forest. And then I run 2 copies of LZ Azamina. I think this card is good at 2. There's times when it comes up. I'm also running 2 copies of a Stellar. I know a lot of lists are running 1. I think just like the Azamina LZ, running 2 copies is preferred. Just for those times that it comes up, not to mention consistency. I'm also running 3 copies of Sylvie. It's going to be my best normal summon. So if I open up a Stellar and Sylvie, I'm usually going to normal summon the Sylvie. But yeah, and then I also run 2 copies of Rusia. Rusia is really good. I'm trying out the second copy because it just special summons anytime I have a White Forest monster. So that's most of the time. So we're trying it out for right now. I run 1 copy of Diabell Star and then 1 copy of Queen Azamina. It's really good to search late game for those fusion materials and helps make Chaos Angel. I run 3 copies of Wanted to get into that Diabell Star and also some draw power on follow-ups. We also have 2 copies of Deception. I have been thinking about just running the 1 copy, but for now I'm just going to stick with the 2. And then 1 copy of Hallowed Azamina. Hallowed Azamina might become Hallowed and Debtors, but for now I'm just running the 1 Hallowed Azamina. I'm trying to keep the list at 40, so it's kind of hard to decide what to cut for that. Moving on, we got 1 copy of Tails, 1 copy of Scourge, 1 copy of Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. And then we got 1 Susurrus, and then 1 Subversion. That's going to round out our spells there. And then we run 1 copy of Woes of the White Forest and 1 Azamina of Fez. Now, I have been thinking about running 2 copies of Tails, but I think you would either cut 1 Rusia or 1 Esteller for it. Probably the Esteller. I don't know, it's kind of hard to call just because of the consistency factor. You already do run a lot of spells and traps for discard, but the consistency to be able to search it if you open up a Wanted and a bunch of other spells, you can use the Tails with the Diabell Star to get your White Forest stuff going, and I've been running into that recently. Moving on, I run 1 copy of Manadium Reframing. Reframing is a negate if you have a Synchro. This deck runs a lot of Synchros, and you mostly have them on the field, and it's searchable with something from the extra deck. I run 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. It's a little bit better with the Toy Box engine, but still board breaker, quick play spell. You can use it in the draw phase. We run 2 copies of Thrust and 1 copy of Talents. Regardless, the hand trap count right now is kind of down. There's still interaction on the board that uses monster effects, so they're good to run. Targets for it, we run 1 Dark Ruler, 1 Raigeki, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. We run 3 copies of Ultimate Slayer to finish out the deck. Ultimate Slayer is a really good card. If you haven't read it, take a look, especially if your extra deck has the space to run all the different types. And then also I'm going to show all of the targets for Thrust. So we got a Fez, Woes, Subversion, Tails, and we got the Hallowed Azamina there. So we got 5 targets that are part of the archetype, depending on what we need. And then also we have all of the board breakers and such that we run. Moving on to the extra deck. Get them in order real quick. So we run 1 copy of Rusia, or Ruselia. She's pretty good. Like, she protects your stuff from destruction. It's one of the effects. She also gives all of your spellcaster and illusion synchro monsters plus 500 attack, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We also have Silvera. Silvera boosts them all by 500 as well, and then also does piercing damage. So potentially, and it's stackable, so you can go 500, 1,000, 1,500, and then you got a 2,500 Diabel here. That's 4K attack, piercing, double piercing damage. We run the Aramatara for the search, and 2 Chaos Angels. Chaos Angel just works so good in this deck. So that's going to round out our synchro monsters there. And then for links, we run 1 SP, 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and then a Bow. Phoenix and Unicorn both discard for cost, and yeah, I believe a Bow does too. Yeah, you can discard 1 card to activate one of these effects, and then you get to choose one of the effects. So it is cost for that as well, so it does trigger your spells. SP Little Knight isn't as good right now just because of the Malice deck. Moving on, we got Murcielago, Saint Azamina, and Silvera. Mu is your searcher. She also docks your opponent's attack, and then she doesn't get her effect from Saint Azamina when she's summoned off Saint Azamina. So she has to be fusion summoned. Saint Azamina is special summons, does not fusion. And then Saint Azamina, 4,000 booty. Your opponent takes all the battle damage you would have taken, so that comes up. So you can run, like, say you get into a situation where you have Saint Azamina, you put Elzette on field. So you special summon your Elzette, normal summon your Stellar, and then special summon your Azamina Elzette, and then they're all 0 attack. So you'll lose all 3 of your monsters, but you can potentially do game ending. If they have a monster with, say, 3K attack, you can just end the game there. Or 3K defense, and then we also run 1 copy of Mirrorlogic Aggregator. So that is really, really good to be able to send off of your copy. Where did I put it? Of Ultimate Slayer. And then your opponent can't respond to the Ultimate Slayer. So, and then I run the A-Bow and the Unicorn and Phoenix. That's mainly if you get locked out from D-Barrier. Tokens, I got Yugi 25th, and then I got an old Yugi token, and then we got that bomb token, because, man, just look at it. It's a bomb token. Moving on to the extra deck, or the side deck. We got 2 copies of Lightning Storm. I used to main them, but I don't know. I mean, it's good discard fodder, but I think it's better to just wait, side it. Synchro Zone. This card has a couple different uses there. Only synchro monsters can attack. It is a quick effect synchro on your opponent's turn, and then if one of your synchro monsters like Diabel goes to the graveyard for some reason, you can special summon her back. So you can use this in combination with the quick play spell, White Forest. I also run 1 D-Barrier. That's a search target for Thrust going first. And then we run 3 copies of Spooky Dogwood, just in case we need to get to that life point gain. There are other things I've thought about running for that as well. We do have Lancias at 3, 2 Chaos Hunters, and 1 copy of Artifact Sanctum. And then this is all going to be for the Malice. Obviously, the Lancia is better than the Chaos Hunter, so